Okay, we're going to be talking about inventory flow assumptions mostly today. Stay tuned. Hi, it's me again, John Williams. Let's continue the inventory story. In the first video, inventory number 1, we mainly focused on perpetual and periodic systems. And gave you a bit of an introduction as to how they work. In other words, basically, if you are using a purchaser's account, then you know that the firm is using a periodic system. They have to do a stock take in order to work out what they've sold. If they're using if you see an inventory account that has lots of activity in it, lots of debits, lots of credits, this type of thing, you know, the inventory coming in and inventory going out, then you know that that's a perpetual inventory system. Anyway, with this video we want to focus on inventory flow assumptions. To give you an example, here is a bottle, 2-litre bottle of milk. I should hide the date so that this video, we can keep using this video for the next 50 years. But no, there's the date. Okay, the date's important. Let me tell you what I do. Sometimes I'm given the task of going to the supermarket and buying milk. And I know they put the milk right up the back of the supermarket. I'm used to that now. Why do they put the milk up the back of the supermarket? To make sure that you walk past everything else and you pick up a few chocolate bars or something or other on the way. Anyway, I go up to the cabinet, the refrigerator cabinet at the back of the supermarket, and I've been given the job of buying some milk, and of course I'm very conscientious and what have you, so therefore I open the door and I reach in as far as I can, and I take the bottle of milk from the back, because I know that's the way that they fill it up. I'm sure some of you do the same thing. And of course when I take it to the checkout, they scan it. See the barcode there again? They scan it, and then their computer system updates their inventory of milk, because now they're one bottle less than before. However, the inventory system doesn't tell them which bottle they've sold. They don't know which bottle. Therefore, they have to make some inventory assumption. They have to make an assumption about the flow of inventory, and that's what we'll be talking about in this video. Hello, little girl. What's your name?
Ivy.
And could you tell me, when we have an inventory system, where are you going? Come back. When we have an inventory system where we assume that the first ones that we buy are the first ones that we sell, what's that system called?
FIFO.
Very good. And what does FIFO stand for?
First in, first out.
Very good. And if we have an inventory system whereby we assume that we sell the most recent ones that we purchase, what do we call that system?
LIFO.
And what does LIFO stand for?
Last one in, first one out.
That'll do. Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to be talking about inventory flow assumptions mostly today. Stay tuned. Okay, you saw before the example that I gave you regarding buying milk. Whenever I buy milk, I tend to try to go to the back of the refrigerator and to find the milk which is the most recent. However, the supermarket doesn't know which carton of milk is sold, so therefore the supermarket must make an assumption one way or the other about the flow of their inventory items. Let me just give you a simple example. This is not my car, but let's pretend that it is for the sake of the discussion right now. Assume that we bought this car 20 years ago, and assume that part of the deal was, by the way, it's a Porsche, but part of the deal was that we got the salesman to include a full tank of petrol. Let's assume that the tank holds 100 litres. I'm sure it doesn't, but anyway, 100 litres will do. And at the time, 20 years ago, we'll choose a nice round number, it cost $1 per litre. So therefore the fuel that was in the tank at that time was worth 100 times $1, so therefore it was worth $100. Then for the next 20 years, let's assume that we were very, very concerned about potentially running out of petrol, and therefore we never let the tank go below 50 litres. We always kept half the tank there in case we ran, or we were worried about running out. Okay, then 20 years later, let me tell you that petrol, we can be use international language, gasoline if you like, petrol's now worth $5 per litre. And we have, on the particular day when we try to measure these things, we have 50 litres left. We're just about to fill it up again. So the question is, have you got the numbers in your head? I'm not putting them on the screen. You've got to think them through. So therefore, if you need to, pause, rewind, play it again. Let me just mention the numbers again. It holds 100 litres. 20 years ago, it was $1 a litre. We never run it below 50 litres. So therefore, 20 years later, we have 50 litres left, and petrol now costs $5 per litre. So therefore, we have to make an assumption about the flow of the inventory item, which is the petrol right now. So if we assume LIFO, if we assume last in, first out, what is the petrol worth that is in the tank right now? Well, if we assume LIFO, last in, first out, so therefore the petrol in the tank is we're assuming from 20 years ago, so therefore it's 50 litres at $1, and therefore it's valued at $50. If, however, we assume FIFO, then what was the value of the inventory of the petrol in this car right now? It would be 50 litres still, the units are still the same, but this time at $5, $250. Okay, so this is an exaggerated example, but it shows you that there is a difference between LIFO and FIFO if prices are changing. So note that with this simple example, our numbers would be different. I mean, one thing I had to say to you was that the petrol never fell below the 50 litres. Obviously, if one time we emptied the tank, then this would make a difference to our calculations. So that's it. That was a simple example. Now let's have a look at another slightly more complicated but still simple example. We're talking about 4 different inventory flow assumptions, and unless firms can use the last one here, specific identification, unless they know exactly which inventory item is being sold. By the way, an example there would be that Porsche motor car that we were talking about a moment ago. I think the Porsche dealerships know which cars they sell, which particular cars. They would have a record of each one as it is sold. But anyway, apart from things like that, when you're talking about petrol, or when you're talking about milk, the supermarkets, for example, with milk, do not know which particular carton or bottle of milk is sold, so therefore they have to make an assumption. And therefore, in those circumstances, you can choose LIFO, we've talked about it, and FIFO, or you could choose weighted average, called by some textbooks the averaging method. Anyway, let's continue. Here is a can. Here is a can of soft drink. I've got my little mouse is rather sensitive today. Here is a can of soft drink. So we're going to look at an example of a soft drink. Right, so you're better off using the keyboard as long as you only press the key once. So flow assumptions, let's just have a look at this. Very simple example, and you can probably do this in your head. In a moment, once we've discussed this, I want you to pause the video and think it through and think of an answer. Your learning processes will be working a lot better if you you get your brain engaged and you actively participate. On Monday we buy 1 can for 20 cents. On Tuesday we buy 1 can for 30 cents. On Wednesday we buy 1 can for 70 cents. On Thursday we sell 1 can for 100 cents, in other words $1. And then the question is, how much profit did we make and what is the ending inventory? LIFO, FIFO, average, specific identification. If it's specific identification, we can say maybe that we sell the Tuesday one. Alright, so pause the video while you work out what you think the answer should be to this. Did you pause it? Okay, good. So therefore, if we assume LIFO, last in, first out, right? Therefore, the one that we sell is the Wednesday one, last in, first out. So therefore, we would make a profit of 30 cents. If we assume FIFO, we would be selling first in, first out. We'd be selling the Monday one, which costs 20 cents. We sell it for 100 cents still, so therefore we're making a profit of 80 cents. If we assume specific identification, and we know that the can that we sold, somehow or other we've marked it or something or other, I don't know, but we sell the Tuesday one, so therefore if we sell the Tuesday one and we sell it for 100 cents and we paid 30 cents for it, then we're selling it for 70 cents. We're making a profit of 70 cents. Now, what about the value of the ending inventory? We know that we sold one can. Therefore, we know that we also know that we purchased one on Monday, one on Tuesday, one on Wednesday. So therefore, we have 3 cans that we purchased. We've sold one. Therefore, we have 2 cans left. But which 2 cans? Obviously, it makes a difference if you're using LIFO or FIFO or weighted average. Anyway, with the LIFO system, if we sold the last one, which would be the Wednesday can, then we know that we have the Monday and Tuesday cans, and they're worth 50 cents together, 20 plus 30. If we assume FIFO, then we know that we've sold the Monday one, so we have the Tuesday and Wednesday one in inventory, so therefore that's worth $1.30 plus 70 cents. Does that make sense? Now we'll have a look at a spreadsheet. Okay, now here's the spreadsheet. This is a real spreadsheet. It's not a copy and paste of a spreadsheet into the PowerPoint slides. Anyway, so therefore we have units here, sales 1 of 100. Right, we got that. You got that before in the previous discussion. So therefore the cost of goods sold 1, 20, 30, 70 cents. Okay, this is the data area, and in the data area we have no in the report area, I guess we should put it the other way, in the report area we have no data. All the numbers here are copied from above. So therefore the sales, obviously the sales is the same for every time, so let's just have a look at that. Can you see the cell there? The sales cell is E5, equals E5, which is up here, E5. So it's that cell just copied there, and that's E5, and that's E5, and that's E5, and that's E5. Alright, so the cost of goods sold on Monday 20 cents, and Tuesday 30 cents, and Wednesday 70 cents, all copied from above. You see that's E9. That one's there and that one's there. Okay, and so therefore then we work out, we've copied the data there. Here we have FIFO, so therefore with FIFO we have the selling price. We have the Monday one with FIFO, that's a Monday one that we sell, so therefore the gross profit is 80 cents. We worked this out in our heads a little moment ago. With LIFO we have a gross profit for that period of time, because we sell the Wednesday one, so we have gross profit of 30 cents. And the weighted average, you should have worked this out in your head as well. The weighted average is of course 40, and how do you get 40? 40 is the 3 costs added together divided by C10, 3. So therefore it's that plus that plus that divided by 3, and therefore you get 40 cents. I've set the numbers up so that everything comes out pretty evenly. And therefore if we take these costs away here, then we will get the ending inventory on Thursday. So therefore with FIFO we have an ending inventory of 100 as we discussed before, and with the LIFO one we have an ending inventory of 50. Okay, have you got that? So therefore, apart from anything else, this is showing you how a spreadsheet should be set out. No data in this area. The data is up here. We can of course still have a formula up here. For example, that 3 is the sum of those three numbers there, and so forth. But in the report area we make sure that we don't have any data whatsoever, which means, look at this, we can change numbers in the data section to produce different results. Let me show you. So therefore we could make this one 10 cents. I'm changing it. Watch what happens. We're not very round, but numbers change. You see the numbers have changed down here. So therefore I better change that back to what it was, make sure I don't save that variation. And if we do, if we want to look at the formula views, we can, whoops, we haven't gone to the formula view. Let me go to the formula view. Okay, now how do we get the formula view? We get one way of getting the formula view is just to toggle on the keyboard, which is Control and Grav on the keyboard. The Grav is the key just on most keyboards, just underneath the escape key up near the top, and the Grav symbol is that little sort of like a little tiny backslash. Anyway, we will do that. Here we go. Let's hope this works. Control Grav. It worked. And therefore you can see that in this area, in the report area, there are no numbers at all. They're all formulas. This one here looks a little bit weird. We've got equal plus, but that still works, and got equal plus there. But this is because I'm an old person. I'm used to Lotus 1, 2, 3. But anyway, it's still the Microsoft Excel still knows. They know about Lotus 1, 2, 3, and therefore they make sure that it's fairly compatible. Okay, so can you see what's going on there? Notice that the column changes change width. And by the way, also notice that I copied the word sales. I copied it down there. This I guess I'm being a bit lazy, but if I get the spelling correct up there, then I'm going to get the spelling correct down here. So that's about it. Okay, so these have been some very, very simple examples. So make sure that you've got control of those simple examples before we go to the next video. Thank you for watching and listening.